All right. Hey, everybody. I got to get something off my mind, off my chest. If I sound like Barry White right now, it's because I just woke up. And instead of writing these things down, which I rarely do anymore. Stay down, Tino. Stay down. He's always trying to get attention. When I'm filming, at least. So instead of sitting down to write all this down, I thought I'd just say it. And it's easier that way. It'll just naturally flow. So I don't usually, typically, quiet. This cat, he's driving me crazy. So that's one reason why I just woke up. It's because the cat woke me up. He's a good little alarm bell. Several times throughout the morning, he'll just wake up because he wants to go outside. Doesn't matter what you want to do. If you want to sleep or not, Tino's is going to wake you up. So the significant thing that just happened was I actually remembered a dream. And that doesn't usually happen. I don't usually, for whatever reason, don't remember dreams. And so the few times I do, I try to, when I'm in and out of consciousness, in bed, like I just was a few minutes ago, sometimes it'll begin to come back to my memory and refresh, and then I'll start to, the meaning part of my brain that tries to make order of things will try to make sense of it, and usually, a lot of times it's just nonsense, and I'm like, okay, well, that was fun. Sometimes it has a deeper meaning and it kind of sticks, and that's kind of how this one was. Meanwhile, there's a protest surrounding the Capitol, and the swamp is on lockdown, I guess, in Washington. So that's an interesting development. I mean, just more, the common theme lately is, like I just released that video of a couple days ago when I had a migraine and I decided to do music instead of just videos, and I decided to make a kind of a compilation of highlights from the Troublesome Fire Apocalypse series. So again, that just kind of refreshed I think it's a good way to keep things fresh in your mind, what you've been through, recent events, so you don't just fall back asleep, because I think that's kind of fits into my dream. That is the prevalent danger I see right now, especially in this country, with all the media continually bombarding us. Everything's new, everything's got to be, like a story from 2 days ago is old news, and so it's on to the next story, because with the information age, we're being bombarded by so much streams of information hitting at us from so many different angles that we're like a deer in the headlights. We're just stunned because our brains aren't made to process that much information continually. And so I think that's part of the devil's tactics, is to just keep us completely frozen and ineffectual in the real world, when we should be more than ever, I think, in these prophetic times, doing the Lord's work. So the dream was my I need to grab some water. It's starting to get kind of sticky. Your saliva. It's a little sticky. If you wanted to know the juicy details. Now it's going to do that on me, okay? Now I'm going to black out again. This camera sometimes killing me. Why is it doing that? Like, why does it just decide not to want to focus on me? Oh, you piece of junk. Okay. So yeah, I just woke up. This is what I remember from the dream. It's heavy because it hits home, literally. So during that, and it's probably partly because it's still fresh on my mind, the troublesome fire apocalypse and some of the, apocalyptic scenes that we experienced and witnessed with all the fires here in Colorado. 24-part series, by the way, and Tynos does star in that one too. Some might say he's the star of the show. A few of those videos, he doesn't shut up. But okay, so we're sitting in the house, the main house here on the property, and so with that context in mind, the recent wildfires that we went through, evacuations, I think we were evacuated 4 or 5 times, mandatory evacuations. All of the town of Estes Park was the last time. Just total martial law. So with that still like fresh in my mind, I walked out on the deck, and the sky was dark, and there was this large, massive plume. Just kind of more like a wall, not necessarily a mushroom cloud, but more of just this wall of black smoke filling up, half of the sky, with the wind blowing straight in our direction. So basically coming straight at us. And that's what struck me as odd, is it was just the darkness. It was this great, now I'm starting to think more prophetically as it comes back to me, this great darkness, which is, as we've been told, coming on this earth. There is a great darkness coming on this earth. And I'm just trying to replay it. Takes a little time sometimes. And so I go inside and tell everybody, it's like, hey, the fire started up again. Something that caught me off guard, because it was still too soon, right? Like, it couldn't have started back up again already. I mean, we just got through that. It's been a few months since we just got back home, and the mandatory evacuations were lifted. So it's kind of a shock, and I was like, what? And you could hear, or you could, that's right, that just popped in my mind. There was, this helps, this is helpful, because now more of it's coming back to me. There were big, large fire trucks and tankers parked on the corner out in front of our place, just sitting there. And I, ran back inside, and I'm like, hey, everybody, there's fire trucks outside. There's a huge wall of smoke, and I can't remember who said it. Can't remember even hearing them say it, but basically the sentiment was, oh, they're just, they're just finishing up. They're just moving on. They're just, because it was that recently, since the last fires. So they're just, they're finishing up. Don't worry about it. So, and they did take off, but my impression was they're headed towards the fire, which is not too far away. They're not just done taking off. Anyway, so that kind of came and went. And of course, me being me lately, I ran inside and I wanted to capture it all on film. And I had some kind of device, and it was really weird because I don't even know. How you do things in dreams and it makes sense. It's like, oh yeah, this makes perfect logical sense what I'm doing right now. But then when you're back to your critical thinking abilities and you try to replay that dream, you're like, what was that? How is that at all related to filming? But so some kind of little contraption with a bunch of little plugins. I had like 6 different plugins, and each one of them, I think it was like an audio thing because there was like a left and it was it was basically like trying to connect a car stereo, right? You got like 6 or so different wires, and it's like left front, right front, rear, left, rear, right, whatever. So something like that. And it was getting really frustrating because I couldn't, and it was kind of dark, and I couldn't even read the little tiny print on each of the wires. So it was really frustrating, and the whole time, I'm missing all this stuff going on, and I'm sitting there, and it's almost kind of like I'm cataloging it in my brain. So that's helpful. I'm trying to commit it to memory because I can't record it with a recording device in my dream. So now and then I'd see like the wall of smoke moved to the just behind me, the mountainside, Storm Mountainside, which is, I'm really bad at direction south. I'm sorry for all the mouth noise, but this is what happens every morning when I'm just get out of bed, I gotta like purge, clean out the system and all that from all the gunk that's accumulated over the night. But so yeah, there's a wall of smoke that's moving across the southern view towards the mountain, and so it's just black. And every once in a while you'll see some light, and it appears that was one of the things I saw. 2 jets, which would be pretty impressive to see up here, really, really low. You couldn't hear them at all, but you could see the faint silhouettes, like they were doing some kind of a slurry or something like that. Hey, no, you go lay down and be a good kitty. Tanos. So, yeah. Okay, so it looks like they're laying down a slurry. And then every once in a while you'd see like some lights or something like that through the smoke. And then I saw at one point, I thought it was interesting, and I've never seen this in real life, like a stream of brightly colored, was it like yellow? I can't remember the exact color right now, but it was brightly colored trail of smoke, like they were marking an area, which is what they do for the bombers, for the slurry pilots. So anyway, there's this battle going on for the fire, and excuse me, all of a sudden I see flames, and this is where it's kind of otherworldly, because they were so high up on my field of view that there's, facing west, there's no mountains that high. from here, anyway. So that's where it's a little dreamland. But yeah, these flames just started erupting from high up. And I'm losing my face again because this camera sucks. Okay. And it will not stay focused. So yeah, I've seen that in previous forest fires through the smoke, just a few. Spot fires ignite, and so that really got me going because I could see the fire, and when you could see the fire, it's pretty close. So I ran back inside, and then this is where it's a little more prophetic and hits home, like I say, and so a couple loved ones, I won't mention who's who, but we're sitting in the living room of the main house here, just completely zoned out on, what I affectionately call the zombie box, the tube TV. And, meanwhile, all this stuff's going on, it's like, this is not the time to get lost in your, latest television episode. And so I distinctively remember losing my SHIT a little bit, losing my cool, hot into the collar. And I was like, come on, guys. And this is serious. Stop watching your damn... I don't even know how exactly I said it. It's like one of those telekinesis things where you don't really have to say things, but you know what you're saying. But at one point I did verbalize, or I tried to. That was the interesting part, I thought, is midway through the sentence, I started losing my voice. I had all this bent up frustration and excitement because of what was going on just outside. And I couldn't film it, and that was really frustrating. But so I was just basically saying, you guys, you need to turn off, stop watching the television. This is serious. This is life-threatening, right? And towards the end of it, I can't remember the exact last words or whatever, but I was completely hoarse, like I had been screaming already. Or maybe it was just, I've had this happen before in a dream, where you're just kind of you try to utter something, try to verbalize something, and you're just powerless to do it. Which is kind of a freaky feeling. And despite my my heartfelt plea, my sincerity of my expression, my intensity, my voice failed, and it didn't seem to grab their attention. It didn't seem to break them out of their spell. And they just kind of, almost as if and that was what kind of stuck with me. There's this feeling of a denial of reality. Like they had already gone through the previous fire, right? And that's the danger. That's what just struck me, is all of these natural disasters and all of these crises that we will be living through and experiencing in these end times. In the book of Revelations, it says, all these plagues all these vials were released on the earth. And after every... the crows are gathering. Or the ravens. After every plague that's released, the main theme is that, these things are designed to wake us up, to make us realize this earth is not our home and our time is short, and get serious and get right with God. And but unfortunately, the common condition, as stated in Revelations, of mankind is that all these horrible things befell them, and yet they repented not of their sins. And so that's the dangerous with these media bubbles, as I see it. That's the danger, is we just get jaded. And this new normal, right, it shouldn't be normal to us as, I don't know, Bible believing Christians. But that's the tendency of the conditioning over time. I mean, even Hollywood and all the movies, all the end time movies and Contagion and Armageddon, all these things. The more you see it, the more we're acclimated to it, to where it's not, it's not such a big deal anymore. Well, it should be a big deal. If you're about to lose your life, if you have nothing left on this earth to trust in, to stand on, that's safe, your God should be a big deal to you, because that's all you got left, and that's how it should be, in my mind. That's how I see things. But, so yeah, in this dream, I did all that. I ran in there and I tried to spread this message of imminent danger, kind of the Watchmen theme, I guess, but my voice gave out, and they weren't shaken. It was almost like this willful, what I got from the dream, in the dream, the impression I got from them was, it was just this willful denial of an imminent threat of reality just outside the door, miles from us. They didn't want to face the ugly truth, I guess. It's kind of like this mental apathy. They would rather just tune it out and embrace the fantasy world, I guess, of the media, which a lot of people, I think, are doing right now. And the more fearful things get, the more anxiety, the more the anxiety level gets cranked up. Like right now on the national, live on the national news, there's all these protesters surrounding the Capitol. It's all in lockdown. So we'll see how that develops, how that unfolds. Probably old news by the time you hear this, but so I'm not trying to be like one of these guys, and I hate, is that a strong word? I think I do. Anyway, some of these, and there's a lot of them, trust me, and every time I hear one of these guys, it's like, not another one of these guys. So you hear somebody, I had a dream, I had this prophetic dream, God talked to me. This is a special message, and only I have the secret knowledge. You don't have dreams like I do. So, position themselves as a prophet, basically. A holy man, and I don't do that too readily. Doesn't come too natural to me. The few times that I have actually stood up on the pulpit in a church and spoke, it took a lot, and I have a hard time. I guess I take the position a little too, I don't know if you can take it too seriously. I take the position seriously when I, assume to take the role of messenger from God. So, and I realize that in a lot of ways, prophets were messengers. That's it. They didn't necessarily always, set timelines and speak prophecies. Sometimes they just spoke truth, and that's what Bible definition of a prophet is. Messenger. I think there's a bird on my roof or something. So I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm saying that within scriptural context, if you understand, just a little bit of prophecy and some of the warnings for the end times people, for the end times church, the message to Laodicea, I call it lazy Decea, lazy Decians, because that's the spiritual condition of the church, is apathy in the end times. And he says, would you be hot or cold, not lukewarm? You're too comfortable. And that's what material prosperity makes us spiritually lazy. That's the biggest problem with this nation, is we've had it so much prosperity for so long. And it's kind of lulled us all asleep to the spiritual nature of things. What's really going on in the big picture. What's really acting on men's hearts right now, men and women's hearts. And, is the main reason why people are acting the way they are, reacting the way they are. And ultimately, why things are going to get just uglier and uglier as the Holy Spirit is more and more withdrawn from this earth, because we have all turned our backs on God's still small voice that nobody seems to be listening to, because there's so much other noise interrupting. Babylon, right? There's a lot of babble. And the media is so crucial in this war for our minds right now, for our souls, ultimately. But those are my thoughts. The dream, that's pretty much how it ended, I think. I might have gone back out one more time, but just that ominous... I think the last time I looked up at the sky in the dream, it was just all uniform. It's like a dingy ashen gray. So, whatever that meant. But I don't ever think I filmed any of it. Dang it. And maybe at that point it was... sometimes there's a time for this and a time for that. At that point, it was probably too late to worry about filming things, right? So anyway, that's my dream. Make of it what you will. But I do think that there is a common theme that, in the Bible, Jesus' message to his disciples in that final hour before he was to be tried and crucified was just to watch and pray. And it says to be sober and vigilant, and that's what we all should be. Don't just... And even if it's your, whatever it is, whatever your interests are, because that's the thing with the media, there's, they'll fill every little niche that you have, satisfies that little hunger for entertainment and good information. You want information, they'll give it to you. So whether it's politics, just pure fantasy, I think we all need to limit our screen time. Even though I'm a guy that tries to put out content to, in a sense, kind of use the matrix to break the matrix, I guess, is what I would perhaps vainly hope for.